Alright, so this is the Detonate Dead Necro that I've been messing with. It's a spec pretty much come up with by Tarke. I know some people like him, some people don't. He makes pretty good builds and this looked fun to use. We're scaling the Corpse Explosion here. So we have DD with Inspiration for early damage, Fire Pen, Spell Cascade just for coverage, Intensify, and Combustion. These might not be the optimal links, but generally speaking I don't think there's much else to do. I have a Cremation 4 link. The plan is to roll this bad boy to get something like a Conk Effect, Immolates, Life, minus Fire Res. This helm I threw a couple of essences at, and that's been doing me well so far. As for gear, it's kind of specific, but not super specific. The Scepter, this one was pretty nice. Fire damage, we're looking at 110% here, plus the 9% fire is extra chaos, and the trigger a socketed spell. Got Desecrate, Bone Offering, and Wave of Conviction here. We are also using a Kilowava Jewel for Glancing Blows, so we double our block chance to get to the cap. Where are we? Looks like Bone Offering is up, so we're at 75, 74. It's not quite cap, but it's close enough. And that just means that with 7.2k life, we're pretty tanky. Spore Guard also helps a bit. Apparently Contaminate and such helps with the old helps with mitigation. I've got an amulet with Fire Leech. The spell damage isn't really helping here, but the attributes are. It's just like T1 Life, Fire Leech, and Min Frenzy. The shield I was glad to pick up for like 3-4x. That is max life on block. No, sorry, it's not quite max, but it's life on block, plus a whole lot of flat life. Spell block, and crafted fire damage is extra chaos damage again. It also has 10% reduced mana reservation for socketed gems, but I only really have flesh and stone in there, and that's just for extra mitigation. There's not really many auras that help this build much. It's just that. I guess I could maybe, I don't know, like I don't even have a good Watcher's Eye. I could maybe get like Fire Pen with Anger. I could maybe fit an Anger in there, but I don't know. And the boots, I splurged on these boots. They've got 40% move speed, kind of a low life roll, but it's Tailwind and can't be frozen. I spent like 6x on these. The belt I actually made myself. I rolled it with maybe half a dozen pristines or something. I got life recovery rate, I got like T1 life, and I got percent life. Not T1%, unfortunately, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Gloves are pretty whatever. They're T1 dex, just about 100 life, and fire res plus added fire against burning enemies, which is just nice to have. I've got +1 frenzy on my amulet and 1 ring. I'd love to have it on here as well, but I'd need to find res for that somewhere. I could theoretically use Purity of Elements and then maybe like a Chaos Res Watchers or something, but haven't needed it too much so far. But, you know, I also have Azura's Promise, 14% Elias, extra Chaos, and Cinder Swallow. The life regen isn't much, but it's something. It's just 10% increased damage taken. Plus a Basalt with Curses to keep me nice and curse free. Got a T16 here, Plateau, Bloodline, Nemesis. Nothing super fancy, just a nice casual T16. I don't need to put anything on here, just hit it and go. Playstyle is relatively smooth. It's not the highest clear speed in the world, but it's also not the lowest. It's kind of like a minor. It's got multicasts, so it's A, B, A, B. Once you get going, you really get going though. I imagine this is a build that would do reasonably well with Headhunter. Not that I'm ever going to have one of them, but you know, if you've got one, I'm sure it'll slot right in. the passive tree is pretty plain as well. It's just fire damage, LE damage, life, EO. You don't need crit. It'd be nice to have a little extra crit. I could probably slam like a level 1 precision in here somewhere, and it wouldn't hurt. Just make that LE overload a little more consistent, and maybe get something extra in terms of the Watcher's Eye. So yeah, it's not exactly like god tier DPS, but that's just a really solid boss killer. That's a nice little Elder map. I'll need to re-roll that because it's Reflect, but you know, I haven't actually done any Elder Guardians on this character. Level 86. Between 84 and 86, I've done 3 Conquerors, all at Awakening level 8. I don't think I'm going to try and do Cirrus on this one, but I can certainly spawn the Conquerors a bit faster than with my Necro. Well, my other Necro. This is also a Necro. I suppose I should probably go over that once I'm done with the map. But yeah, this is a T16, Awakening level 8, and I'm clearing pretty well. I've got 75-74 block, thanks to Bone Offering and my shield. Rares sometimes take 1 or 2 extra casts, but generally speaking, they're not too bad. It's usually only like the really big rares, stuff that's got beefy extra life. Because, you know, some mobs out there, Kitava's Heralds for example, this is a Kitava Cultist map. Some of them have some pretty nasty HP pools. But that does just mean that they blow up way harder when you DD. Problem is, there's usually nothing around to DD because by the time they die, everything else has died. But, you know, if a boss has rare ads, for example, that's something. Let's see. No, I want currency. And then currency. Alright. I don't even need that point, really. I'm basically just getting jewels at this point. But yeah, the damage can feel a little bit inconsistent. And as you can see, the performance gets a little framey sometimes. But generally speaking, it's a pretty comfortable playstyle. Didn't really get anything there. Oh wait, hold on, that looked like an interesting... Oh no, it's incursion armor. I thought it was something else. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much how it is. I'm just go fast, kick ass, basically. The tree is, again, pretty generic. We got cast speed here just because cast speed is really nice to have. Fire damage here, just life here. I guess I'll grab that life. Takes me to, hey, 7,420. Nice. So you just go up here, grab your life, grab your fire damage, EO, go down here, grab the jewel socket, turn that into glancing blows. Life again, fire damage, life, area, damage, life. Very simple, it's really nothing. I've got the red dream is a very nice little thing to have. This should, I don't know if I saw any charges, but this should give me something like 30% chance to get an endurance charge on kill, which should be making me a little tankier. Nice little fire damage node here, plus life regen. You get a surprising amount of life regen here, actually. I'm not really sure where else to take the build. Normally I would route down here and then up here for spiritual aid, but I decided to anoint that because I could anoint that and I get a fair amount of damage from that. But yeah, I leveled the build pretty much just going up to, sorry, I grabbed the fire damage, I grabbed EO ASAP, grabbed the fire damage I think pretty late actually. I also came along here for the nice damage clusters, then there, and then down here just for all the life. All things considered, pretty smooth experience, and I would recommend the build. Spore Guard isn't even necessary really. You could use a pretty good rare and I don't think you'd be any worse off. You could even probably use you could probably, instead of going full block, you could still use Bone Offering, get like 50-40, maybe take some extra spell block nodes, go 50-50 block. So then you're just mitigating half your damage all the time. And then you get the, oh, what's that Chaos chest? Incandescent Hearts. Go Incandescent Hearts, go Divine Flesh, just max out that Chaos res, and you'll be even tankier. That should about cover it. I don't think there's really much else here. Nothing special, just life and res, flam on hit. The gear here is kind of niche, so it might be difficult to find, but it shouldn't be terribly expensive when you do. I started this build with something like 43 exalts. I've poured 25 into it, and like a significant chunk. These two together were like 10x. Everything else is just a case of, as a matter of fact, like some of those exalts haven't even paid off yet because I've put like 5 or 6 into this, plus 10 here, so that's like 15. So all in all, you're looking at roughly a 10x build if you don't go like absolutely batshit on your boots. The shield is probably actually probably pretty craftable. Just go for pristines and then maybe like defensive mods or something. I don't know. Maybe even mana mods. You don't really need the reduced reservation, but it's there. You can use it. God, I love this shield. It's so nice. You can just kind of sit in low packs. But yeah, highly suggest the build. Maybe not as a league starter, but as something to mess with late league. This is Lewis signing off.